comes a time in life when you've got to pull back from the noise, step away from the crowd, and sit in the quiet of your own thoughts. Not everybody will understand the decisions you make. Not everybody will clap when you win. And not everybody will cry when you lose. The reality is when you start growing, you start shedding, and not everybody is meant to go where you're going. You've got to learn how to be okay with walking alone for a while, because isolation is not punishment, it's preparation. See, too many people are afraid of being by themselves. They feel uncomfortable in the silence, so they fill their lives with unnecessary distractions, constant noise, pointless conversations, meaningless connections. They keep people around just to avoid feeling alone. But let me tell you something, if you don't get comfortable being alone, you'll never truly know who you are. You'll never develop the strength you need to stand when nobody else is standing with you. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen when you're by yourself, in those moments when it's just you, your thoughts, and God. But here's what happens when you start focusing on yourself. People will talk. They'll say you're acting different. They'll say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You are not the same person you used to be, because you're growing, evolving, becoming something greater. And that's what they don't like. See, people are comfortable when you stay at their level. They're fine as long as you don't outgrow the environment they've settled into. The moment you start leveling up, they get uncomfortable. They start questioning you, doubting you, and trying to pull you back. But you can't let that stop you. You've got to be willing to step away and separate yourself, not because you think you're better than them, but because you're focused on becoming better than you were yesterday. There are seasons in life where God will pull you into isolation so he can prepare you for the next level. He will shut doors that you thought should stay open. He will remove people you thought would always be there. He will silence the voices that used to guide you, not because he's punishing you, but because he's pruning you. If you're not careful, you'll spend all your time trying to hold on to people and places that God is trying to pull you away from. You'll keep trying to open doors that he already closed. But when you trust the process, when you understand that isolation is not rejection, it's refinement, then you start to embrace the silence instead of running from it. Silence is a gift. It's in the silence that you hear what you've been too distracted to listen to. It's in the silence that you confront the fears you've been running from. It's in the silence that you discover the strength you didn't know you had. You don't need an audience to grow. You don't need applause to become successful. Some of the most powerful moves you'll ever make in life will happen in the quiet, when nobody's watching, when nobody even knows what you're doing. So stop waiting for validation. Stop announcing your every move. Just work, just build, just grow silently. Let's be real. Some of you are carrying people that are slowing you down. You're trying to take everybody with you, and that's why you feel so weighed down. You can't fly when you're overloaded with baggage. You've got to be willing to let go of people who no longer align with your journey. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It just means you're prioritizing your growth. And if they truly care about you, they'll understand. But if they don't, that's okay too. You don't need permission to focus on yourself. You don't need approval to evolve. When a caterpillar is in the process of becoming a butterfly, it doesn't ask other caterpillars for their opinion. It doesn't wait for everybody to agree. It just goes into the cocoon, embraces the transformation, and when it comes out, it flies. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be willing to go into your cocoon, go through the process, and come out soaring. But that means letting go of the caterpillar mentality. That means understanding that not everybody who started with you will finish with you. And that's okay. See, the problem is we want elevation, but we don't want separation. We want to grow. But we don't want to leave anything behind. But you can't have it both ways. If you want to rise, you've got to release. If you want to step into your destiny, you've got to step away from your distractions. And that's not always easy. It's not always comfortable, but it's always necessary. So, if you find yourself in a season where it feels like you're alone, if you feel like people are falling away, if it seems like doors are closing left and right, don't get discouraged. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's God's way of saying, I need you to focus. I need you to listen. I need you to prepare for what's coming next. Because where you're going, you can't take everybody with you. Where you're going, you can't afford unnecessary distractions. Where you're going, you need to be sharp, focused, and ready. So embrace the silence. Lean into the isolation. Use this time to grow, to heal, to build, to develop. Because when you finally step into the next season of your life, when you walk into the blessings that are waiting for you, you'll realize that everything you thought you lost was actually making room for what you were about to gain. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook. Your energy flows where your attention goes. Whatever you focus on, you give power to. If you're constantly looking at what other people are doing, constantly checking who's watching you, constantly worried about how others perceive you, then you are wasting valuable energy that should be invested in your own growth. You cannot afford to be distracted by everything around you when your purpose demands your full attention. Too many people are caught up in the habit of comparison. They're scrolling through social media, watching somebody else's highlight reel, wondering why their own life doesn't look as good. They're measuring their progress against someone else's timeline. But let me tell you something, comparison is a thief. It will rob you of your joy, your confidence, and your peace. The moment you start looking at what someone else has, you take your eyes off what you need to be doing. And when you take your eyes off your own path, you start drifting. You start losing momentum. You start feeling like you're behind when in reality, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You need to understand that your journey is yours alone. You were never meant to run somebody else's race. You were never meant to follow somebody else's blueprint. What's for you is for you, and nobody can take it from you. But if you spend all your time focusing on them, you'll miss what God is trying to do in you. You'll miss the lessons, the opportunities, the growth that is happening right where you are. Your energy is too valuable to waste on distractions. Your time is too precious to spend worrying about things that don't add to your destiny. The more you focus on others, the less you focus on yourself. The more you talk about what they're doing, the less time you have to build what you need to build. Success doesn't come from watching. Success comes from working. It comes from putting your head down and handling your business. It comes from being consistent, disciplined, and locked in on what you need to do. You cannot afford to let outside noise pull you away from your mission. You cannot afford to let negativity steal your focus. You have too much at stake. And let's be honest, some of you are drained, not because you're doing too much, but because you're focused on the wrong things. You're pouring energy into things that don't serve you. You're investing time in people who don't value you. You're engaging in conversations that do nothing but distract you. And then you wonder why you feel tired, why you feel stuck, why you feel unmotivated. It's because your energy is scattered. It's because you're spending yourself on things that don't align with where you're trying to go. You need to take control of your focus. You need to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. If something isn't helping you grow, it's holding you back. If a conversation isn't feeding your mind, it's draining your spirit. If a relationship isn't pushing you forward, it's pulling you backward. You have to be intentional about what you give your attention to. You have to decide that your purpose is too important to be compromised by unnecessary distractions. Some of the most successful people in the world aren't the loudest. They aren't the ones constantly seeking attention. They are the ones who stay focused. They are the ones who move in silence. They are the ones who know how to shut out the noises, shutting the work. That's what you need to do. Stop worrying about who's watching. Stop looking for validation. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't even invested in your growth. Just focus. Focus on building. Focus on growing. Focus on elevating. Because when you do, everything else will fall into place. Where you put your attention will determine where your life goes. If you focus on negativity, you will attract negativity. If you focus on problems, you will feel overwhelmed. But if you focus on solutions, you will find opportunities. If you focus on growth, you will get stronger. If you focus on your goals, you will move forward. Your life is a reflection of what you give your energy to. So if you want to see change, start with your focus. That silence is a strategy. It's not weakness. It's not fear. It's wisdom. There is power in knowing to speak and when to be quiet, when to care, and when to keep things to yourself. Too many people talk too much, revealing their plans before they've even had a chance to develop. They announce every move, every idea, every opportunity before it even has a foundation. And then they wonder why things don't work out, why doors close, why a position shows up out of nowhere. Sometimes it's because they spoke too soon. Not everybody needs to know what you're working on. Not everybody needs access to your dreams. The more you talk, the more you open the door for negativity, doubt, and unnecessary opinions. The moment you start sharing your vision, people will have something to say about it. People who don't understand, people who don't believe in you, people who secretly hope you fail. And if you're not careful, you'll let their words get inside your head. You start second guessing yourself, wondering if you really have what it takes. But the truth is, their doubts don't matter. Their opinions don't define you. What matters is that you stay committed to what you know you're called to do. Some moves need to be made in silence. Some victories need to be won in private. Some work needs to be done without an audience. There's a reason seeds are planted in the ground, hidden from view. There's a reason a baby grows in the womb, away from the world. Because growth happens in the unseen places. Development takes time, and exposure too soon can be dangerous. Some things need to be nurtured in silence before they're ready to be revealed. When you're constantly announcing your next move, you give people the opportunity to interfere. Not everyone who smiles at you is rooting for you. Not everyone who claps for you wants you to win. Some people will act like they're in your corner while secretly hoping you fail. And when you share too much, you give them ammunition to use against you. Some battles aren't lost because you weren't prepared, but because you told the wrong people your plans. Learn to move in silence. Let your work speak for itself. Let your results do the talking. There's something powerful about watching someone succeed without ever hearing them boast about what they're doing. There's something inspiring about seeing someone achieve greatness without ever announcing their every step. That's the kind of discipline you need to have. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to post every detail of your progress. Just work. Just build. Just grind. And when it's time, when it's fully developed, when it's undeniable, people will see it. You won't have to say a word. Silence also protects your peace. When you're constantly explaining yourself, constantly defending your decisions, constantly trying to make people understand, you waste energy that could be used for growth. Not everyone will get it. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're focused. You don't have to justify why you're choosing to level up. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them doubt. Just keep moving. The most dangerous thing you can do is let the opinions of others dictate your moves. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. What you need is focus. What you need is discipline. What you need is the ability to lock in on your vision without getting distracted by outside noise. Success doesn't come from talking about what you're going to do. It comes from doing it. So stay silent, stay focused, stay committed. And when the time is right, when the work is done, when the foundation is solid, they won't have to hear about it. They'll see it. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should know your next move, hear your thoughts, or be allowed into your space. Too many people are exhausted, drained, and frustrated. Not because they lack talent, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they keep giving access to people who do nothing but take. If you're not careful, you'll spend so much time pouring into others that you leave yourself empty. You'll keep trying to be available to people who are never available to you. Keep trying to prove your worth to people who will never see it. Keep allowing people into your life who were never meant to be there. And at some point, you've got to ask yourself why. Some people are only connected to you because of what they can get from you. They don't celebrate you. They don't push you forward. They don't inspire you to be better. They just take. They drain your energy, waste your time, and distract you from your purpose. And yet you keep letting them stay. You keep answering their calls. You keep entertaining their nonsense. But the truth is, not everyone is supposed to walk with you into your next season. Some people were only meant to be with you for a chapter, not the whole book. And if you keep holding on to people who should have been left behind, you'll never move forward the way you're supposed to. There comes a time when you have to protect your space. You have to protect your mind. You have to protect your peace. Because if you don't, people pull you in every direction except the one you're supposed to be going in. You don't owe everyone access. You don't owe everyone your time. And you sure don't owe anyone an explanation for why you are choosing to grow. Growth requires separation. It requires distancing yourself from anything that no longer serves your purpose. It means letting go of relationships that keep you stuck, conversations that go nowhere, and people who don't respect the value of your presence. Some of you are carrying dead weight. You're holding on to friendships that expired years ago. You're still entertaining relationships that do nothing but drain you. You're still engaging in conversations that don't align with your future. And you wonder why you feel stuck. You wonder why you feel unmotivated. You wonder why you feel like you're not making progress. It's because you're tied to things and people that no longer fit where you're going. If you want to go higher, you have to be willing to let some things go. You have to be okay with not being invited to every event, not answering every call, not being available every time somebody needs you. Because the truth is, some people only check on you when they need something. Some people only come around when it benefits them. And if you keep making yourself available to everyone, you'll have nothing left for yourself. You need to start being intentional about who has access to you. If they don't bring peace, they shouldn't have access. If they don't add value to your life, they shouldn't have access. If they don't respect your time, your boundaries, they shouldn't have access. You are not obligated to keep people around just because they've been there a long time. Longevity doesn't equal loyalty. Some people have been in your life for years and still don't truly support you. Some people have been close to you for years and still don't have your best interests at heart. Stop holding on to people just because of history. If they are not aligned with your destiny, it's time to create some distance. When you start elevating, when you start focusing on your goals, when you start moving in silence and protecting your peace, some people will fall away naturally. And that's okay. Don't chase after people who are meant to leave. Don't try to force connections that have run their course. Let them go. Because the right people, the ones who truly care about you, the ones who are supposed to be in your life, will respect your growth. They will honor your space. They will understand that focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're abandoning them. It just means you are choosing to become the best version of yourself. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should be in your space. Protect your peace. Guard your energy and be intentional about who you allow into your life. Because the wrong people will drain you, but the right people will push you forward. Choose wisely. Growth requires separation. It's uncomfortable, it's lonely, and it's necessary. There will come a time in your life when you realize that you cannot stay where you are and get to where you're meant to be at the same time. You cannot keep doing the same thing, surrounding yourself with the same people, engaging in the same distractions, and expect to elevate. If you truly want to grow, you're going to have to separate yourself from some things. Not because you think you're better than anybody, not because you don't love them, but because where you're going requires a different version of you. Too many people struggle with growth because they're afraid of outgrowing people. They feel guilty for moving forward when others are staying in the same place. But hear this, your growth is not an apology. You don't have to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't have to slow down because people around you refuse to move. Some people will never understand your need to evolve, and that's okay. Some people will question why you're changing, why you're not as available as you used to be, why you don't engage in the same conversations, why you don't spend your time the same way. And you don't owe them an explanation, because the truth is, if they were truly growing, they would understand. If they were focused on their own journey, they wouldn't have time to question yours. There is a cost to elevation. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you familiarity. It will cost you relationships that no longer align with your purpose. Some of the very people you thought would be with you forever will be the ones you have to leave behind. And that is not a sign of disloyalty. That is a sign of growth. If you're growing, but your circle is not, you will feel the weight of stagnation pulling you back. You'll feel the discomfort of conversations that no longer inspire you, environments that no longer challenge you, relationships that no longer push you forward. And if you ignore that discomfort, if you keep forcing yourself to stay in places where you no longer belong, you will delay your destiny. Some of you are holding on to people who are keeping you stuck. You are clinging to environments that no longer fit who you are becoming. You are forcing connections that God has already disconnected. And you wonder why you feel like you're not progressing, why you feel weighed down, why you feel like something is holding you back. It's because you haven't learned how to separate. You haven't learned that you can love people from a distance. You haven't learned that growth sometimes means standing alone for a while. When you are called to something greater, you cannot take everyone with you. You cannot stay in the same places, engaging in the same habits, entertaining the same conversations, and expect to reach new heights. At some point, you have to decide that your growth is worth more than your comfort. At some point, you have to be willing to let go of what no longer serves you. Because if you don't, you will spend your life repeating the same cycle, stuck in the same patterns, wondering why nothing ever changes. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Let them say you've changed, because change is the whole point. You were never meant to stay the same. You were never meant to remain in the same place, doing the same things, thinking the same way. Growth is proof of life. And if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. It's okay to separate. It's okay to choose your growth. It's okay to say no to what no longer aligns with where you're going, because the right people will grow with you. The right relationships will evolve with you. And what is truly meant for you will never require you to stay the same. Not everything you need is already inside of you. The strength, the wisdom, the resilience, it's in you. The problem is too many people are waiting for someone else to validate them, waiting for someone else to give them permission to be great. But the truth is, you don't need their approval. You don't need their applause. You don't need them to believe in you before you move. At some point, you have to recognize that what God placed inside of you is enough. At some point, you have to stop doubting yourself, stop second guessing, stop waiting for the perfect moment, and start walking in what you already know is yours. The reason so many people never reach their full potential is because they keep looking outside of themselves for what can only be found within. They keep expecting someone to open doors for them when they were meant to build their own. They keep searching for motivation from others instead of finding the discipline to push themselves. They keep relying on people who were never meant to be their source. And every time those people disappoint them, every time they don't show up, every time they don't support, they start questioning their own purpose. But your calling is not dependent on their support. Your destiny is not tied to their approval. When you truly understand that, when you truly start believing that what is inside of you is greater than any obstacle outside of you, you will stop waiting and start working. Some of the greatest things you will ever accomplish will happen in seasons when no one is clapping for you, when no one is checking on you, when no one is telling you to keep going. Those are the moments that define you, because it's easy to be motivated when everybody is cheering you on. It's easy to believe in yourself when people are recognizing your work. But can you keep pushing when no one is watching? Can you keep grinding when no one is praising you? Can you keep growing when nobody is noticing? That is where real strength is built. That is where real character is formed. You have to get to a place where your drive comes from within, where your commitment is not based on how you feel, not based on who's supporting you, but based on the fact that you know you were created for more. If you keep waiting for someone else to push you, you will always be limited. If you keep needing outside motivation, you will never develop true discipline, because motivation fades. Feelings change. People come and go. But when you have something inside of you that refuses to quit, something that won't let you settle, something that keeps pushing you forward, no matter what, then nothing can stop you. This is why you have to learn to move in silence. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't even understand your vision. Stop waiting for validation from people who don't even believe in themselves. Stop looking for support in places where you were never meant to find it. Everything you need is already in you. The ideas, the talent, the potential, it's all there. You just have to stop doubting it. You just have to start walking in it. People will always have opinions. They will always have something to say about what you're doing, what you're building, how you're moving. And if you're not careful, you will let their words shape your actions. You will let their doubts create your fears. You will let their negativity distract you from your purpose. But when you truly understand who you are, when you truly believe in what you're called to do, their opinions won't matter. Their approval won't be necessary, because you will be too focused on becoming everything you were created to be. Stop looking outside for what is already within. Stop waiting for permission to be great. Stop doubting what God has placed inside of you. It's time to move. It's time to step into your purpose with confidence. It's time to stop talking and start doing. Because the world doesn't need another person who almost did something. The world needs you to fully step into who you were meant to be.